Growing up, my family read a lot. And when I say read a lot of books, I mean they really read a lot of books. Trips to the libraries weren't casual outings, they were strategic missions. Every card, 10 books, maxed out. My brothers and I would fan out, hit the limit, and stagger back to the checkout desk like we'd won something. I read constantly, in hallways, at lunch tables, at sporting events. I mastered the rare skill of walking while reading. I always had at least one book in my backpack that had nothing to do with school, and probably never would. Even now, my life is surrounded by books. I have bookshelves at home, books at work, books in my car. I'm never far from a story. And one of those stories changed the way I see people. When I was in high school, I read a book called My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. It was the first book of hers I'd ever picked up, and it made her one of my favorite authors instantly. What drew me in wasn't just the plot, it was how she told the story. Jodi Picoult does two things exceptionally well. First, she tackles controversial topics. Second, and this is the important part, she refuses to tell you who's right. Her books are written from multiple perspectives. Each chapter shifts point of view. Each character gets their own voice, their own logic, their own justification. And you don't just see what's happening, you understand why each person believes they're right. In My Sister's Keeper, the story centers on two sisters. One is seriously ill, and the other was born as a genetic match, essentially a built-in donor. For years, she gives blood and platelets and whatever else her sister might need. Until one day, she decides she's done. And she starts to take legal action to gain control of her own body. That's all I'll say for now. No spoilers from me. What struck me wasn't the controversy itself. It was that the author never picked a side. She just let you sit with every angle. And without realizing it at the time, that kind of rewired how I listen. Because I like understanding how people think, why they think that way, and how they got there in the first place. If I understand where you're coming from, I can understand where you're going, even if I don't want to go there myself. That mindset stuck with me into adulthood. I genuinely enjoy talking about controversial topics with friends, family, and even strangers. Not to win, not to argue, but to ask good questions. To figure out what experiences shaped someone's thinking. And here's the interesting part. Not everyone does this. Most people listen to respond, or to defend, or to win. But when you listen to understand, something different happens. I've had conversations where at the end, the other person pauses and I can almost see it coming. They say something like this: I really enjoyed talking to you. We didn't change each other's minds, but we actually talked and listened. No yelling, no personal attacks, just curiosity. I've had some of the most controversial conversations of my life, and they've never turned into arguments. And a few weeks ago, it hit me. This book probably started every part of that. Now, I'm not saying one novel single-handedly shaped my worldview. That's a whole nature versus nurture discussion we don't have time for. But when I traced it back, this habit of holding multiple perspectives, this comfort with disagreement, I kept coming back to My Sister's Keeper. In the 20 or 30 other Picoult books I've read since then. Books have this incredible ability to bypass our defenses. When you're reading, your emotional guard is down. Your brain isn't in debate mode, and suddenly you're living inside someone else's head, someone you might never agree with in real life. So today I want to challenge you with 3 things. First, if you haven't read a book recently, read one. And yes, I highly recommend My Sister's Keeper. It's still in my top 10. Second, read things you don't agree with. Articles, books, listen to podcasts, TED Talks, whatever it is. It's easy to consume ideas that reinforce what we already believe. Maturity, real maturity, is doing the exact opposite. And third, practice seeing people the way you see characters in a book. If you've never lived inside your own brain, if you were reading your life from the outside, would you want someone to stop after the first chapter? Judge you by one sentence, one post, one moment from 15 years ago? Or would you want them to keep reading, to ask questions, to understand the full story? We all want that grace for ourselves. So maybe, just maybe, the people around you deserve it as well. Because sometimes we can disagree deeply and still turn the page together.